Very good afternoon, and thanks for clicking on to the Saturday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. Hope everybody is well and having a good weekend so far. The tropics are alive and kicking, folks, and it looks as if during the second half of September, this could be a significant driver in our weather. A very complex situation is evolving, and quite often with an active tropics during the month of September, that can have significant impacts on our weather here in the mid latitudes of northwestern Europe. Now, we have, of course, got the major Hurricane Lee. It's expected to strengthen. It currently is strengthening, but it's expected to strengthen to a Cat 5 hurricane in the next few days here. And it's all eyes on parts of New England, Nova Scotia, and even Bermuda for impacts from Lee towards next weekend. So we're going to have some tropical updates here on markvoganweather.com in the next few days, by the way, keeping a very close eye on Lee. But also, we've got the disturbance Margot, which is a possible direct impactor on our weather into next week here. So, of course, we have got the peak of the heat today, possibly even tomorrow in the UK. And you can see here the Met Office model indicates that the temperatures this afternoon actually widespread 30 Celsius, as you can see here, anywhere from Kent, Surrey, all the way up into South Yorkshire here. The peak of the heat, according to the Met Office model, is around 31, possibly 32 Celsius, which is quite interesting actually, because you notice here that as we press towards tomorrow, note the very the substantial cooling taking place now across north portions of the British Isles, Ireland, and Northern Ireland. But it's all eyes in the southeast of the UK because we could actually see an even hotter day tomorrow. Now, the latest run of the Met Office model indicates a 33 Celsius right on the border between Lincolnshire and Norfolk, as you can see here, possibly into East Cambridgeshire as well. And really between Greater London all the way up towards the Wash, we've got a 31 to 33 Celsius area here, 32 Celsius up in the north coast of Norfolk as well. But all the while, we've only got low 20s, as you can see here, across England. The majority of England and Wales north of Birmingham, up into the UK, up into the far north, we've only got 12 to 14 Celsius. A very significant drop in temperature, by the way, up here in the north of Scotland compared to what we've seen yesterday. I've seen a peak temperature of 28.1 Celsius, the warmest day of the year. And indeed, we did see several stations. Look at these here area temperatures, by the way, on Wednesday, early Wednesday morning. We've got low single figures quite widely across Scotland. So what a drop we have got coming. But these were the temperatures yesterday. So I think several places recorded the warmest September day on record. Northern Ireland set a new national record, 28.0, recorded in Castleberg in County Tyrone. But we had a 27 at Tain, 27.7 at Altnahara, 25.2, I believe, is a new record for September in Wick. We had 28.8 Celsius at Bishopton in Glasgow, and of course we did see low 30s further south once again. Today would mark the sixth day in a row where the temperature has exceeded the 30 Celsius mark in the UK. Blows away the previous record, by the way, set all the way back in 1906 of just 3 straight days. So tomorrow looks to be day number 7 above 30 Celsius. This would be a bona fide heat wave, by the way, even in the summertime, never mind September. And of course, a few days ago, I did bring some perspective to the heat that we've got at the moment, but the persistency in this heat wave is very significant indeed. Now, you can see here temperatures as of recording at 20 to 2 in the afternoon. We do have a trim back in temperatures, a notable trim back in temperatures over the West Highlands, as you can see here. But of course, with a fairly stiff southwesterly wind, we've got temperatures up to 26 at Aberdeen Dice Airport. Temperatures have been consistently in the mid to high 20s here. And as you can see here, the further south you go, even the trim back across parts of Western Ireland and Northern Ireland. Look at the difference here at Castleberg, 28 yesterday. It's only 19.4 this afternoon. And of course, the core of the heat, 31, possibly a 32 Celsius, somewhere just to the north of London here. So the Met Office model indicates a 31 Celsius as a maximum. Tomorrow, 33 Celsius. So it'll be interesting to see whether today or tomorrow is the peak of the heat. But we're already seeing the demise of the heat wave further north, of course. Now, we do have, of course, the tropics. Like I've already highlighted so far in today's video, the tropics could play a big role as we go into next week here. So, of course, we've got the Hurricane Lee at the moment to the south of this Bermuda area of high pressure. Now, as we play through, it would actually help if we can get back to the right chart, wouldn't it? So this is, well, let me see here. So this is, let's go back to today. Okay, so we've got, of course, Lee, and we have got Margot. Now, pay attention here. We do have more systems that develop off Africa here. Now, of course, Hurricane Lee is expected to take that kind of northwest turn. So we are going to see Lee probably ramp up to a Cat 5 hurricane. Then it's going to start to take that kind of northward turn, of course, as hurricanes tend to bomb out the kind of peak in intensity. That often is when they start to make that northward jog, that northward turn. Usually if they maintain a kind of low level intensity, that tends to find a little bit more of a westerly trajectory to that track. But notice here that we do see the system really ramp up and then take that northward turn. But look at Margot. You can see here that that system kind of drifts north and then kind of takes a northeasterly track, or it actually becomes kind of trapped beneath that kind of northward displaced Azores high pressure system. All the while we've got more unsettled conditions, lower heights now across the British Isles here. But as we notice here, Margot becomes kind of trapped beneath the southern flank of that high. There up comes, of course, Lee, a glancing blow potentially. It remains to be seen. This is all the way out the next weekend, of course. It remains to be seen how far west or how far east it stays. It's going to be critical for the northeastern United States and eastern Canada. But this latest run of the GFS, anyway, indicates that Lee possibly takes a glancing blow at far eastern Maine, the western side of Nova Scotia, possibly as a still hurricane, by the way, as it tries to come ashore late Saturday night into Sunday morning. Like I said before, bear in mind this is one individual run. We're talking over a week away, so of course you can't take this literal. Now notice here that we've got another system here. So Margot is to the north of this next system here. This is likely to be a hurricane at the time as well. But watch this space here, folks. As we have systems coming into the UK, up comes Margot. It then becomes caught up with the Westerlies. And then we've got that system making a beeline towards the British Isles here as a significant wind maker. So we need to keep a close eye on this. This is a very long way out, but I'm just showing you the potential. As we start to see these hurricanes becoming more of a player in the main development region of the Atlantic, then they take that northward turn into the mid-latitude pattern. We need to keep our eyes fixed on this now. 2011, we did see the remnants of ex-Hurricane Katia. That produced quite the blow in the UK and Ireland back in September of 2011. And my gut feeling at this moment in time is that we need to pay a close attention to the tropics. We could see the potential of some sort of a gale during the second half of September based on the pattern that I'm seeing at the moment, based on the Mann-Julian oscillation and also the El Nino in place at the moment. There's so many things, of course, that we need to take into consideration, but the pattern is becoming more volatile as we then start to introduce the tropics to the system here. So it looks as if we've got another system, 947 millibar hurricane over the western portion of the Atlantic. This is, of course, out to the 22nd of September. That takes a turn off the east coast of North America, moves northwards, and we need to watch for a potential deepening trough over the northeastern Atlantic, the UK and Ireland, underneath a possible deepening trough. Now, the NAO is positive, hence why we've had a week of plus 30 Celsius. The widespread nature, by the way, of 27 or above yesterday was really, to me, quite eye-catching. It was remarkable to see 27 or above really from the southeast of England all the way to the northwest Highlands. You don't really often see that, even in July and August. You don't really often see that, but almost the middle portion of September, it's pretty amazing actually, this heat that we've got going at the moment here. There's no denying that, folks. It really is an impressive area of heat wave conditions at the moment here. So if we look at the GFS here, the ensemble, you can see that we start to see a turn down in temperature as we press through the weekend here. So of course, plenty of 5 to 10 Celsius above average at the moment here. And then, of course, as we play through the course of this weekend, notice here that we start to see the temperatures cooling down from the northwest to the southeast, always slowest to catch up in the southeast as opposed to the northwest here. So during the course of, for example, Tuesday, could still see 26, 27, possibly a 28 in the southeast of the UK, below average temperatures the further north and west you go here. So a significant divide in temperatures as we push towards the early portion of the week. And then we've got a more noteworthy cool down coming thanks to lower heights and lower pressure involved in the pattern. You notice here that we kind of lean on average to slightly below average in this GFS ensemble, a run through the mid and second half of the week here. So we'll kind of flirt between slightly below average, slightly above average with the pattern as we go through the second half of the month here. You can see that with the 850s expected by the GFS ensemble here. This is for London, so of course we'll take that big nosedive in temperature early next week, and then it looks as if it stays close to average, possibly slightly below average, all the way out to the 24th of September here. Looking at the 850s here, or the 500 millibar height anomaly chart, you can see the situation as we go through the next few days here. So this is the upcoming 5-day period. Notice here that the core of the high pressure, of course I've talked a little bit about atmospheric dynamics in recent days with regards to the depth of the troposphere. When you've got that 594 decameter high, of course you increase the depth of the column. You've got the greatest sinking through the atmosphere. That increases the movement of the molecules, increases the surface warming, and of course you add in a southerly flow, and that's why we've got temperatures that we've got at the moment here. Of course, the tremendous amount of flooding that we've seen initially over Iberia last weekend. We've got, of course, the Greek situation, parts of the Balkan region, Bulgaria, Albania, remarkable flooding in recent days. That is now starting to ease because we don't have that strong, prominent, a mega block situation here. But notice here that the core of the high has weakened, it's shifted east. Now we're starting to see weaker heights, especially for the further north and west. We've got that negative over Iberia. The 6 to 10 day, look at the difference here. We're starting to see a negative development in the 11 to 15. Remember what's going on within the tropics, the potential of northward push of tropical heat that then essentially could have the almost the exact opposite effect. I believe Franklin helped deliver this heat wave, pumped heights over the UK, recasted the atmosphere compared to what we've seen in July and August. And now what we could see is Margot and, of course, even Lee completely flip around the upper pattern. Instead of having a strong positive over the UK and Ireland with a positive NAO, we could have a negative NAO and a deep trough over the UK and Ireland through the second half of the month. This is the period 19th through the 24th of September. So keep in mind, we will have tropical updates here on marfoganweather.com, looking specifically at Lee and the rest of the tropical Atlantic. Global weather and climate report tomorrow. There will be a lot of chat about the tropics, how strong we had Jova in the East Pacific. That went from a tropical depression to a Cat 5 hurricane within 48 hours. Remarkable rapid intensification with that cyclone over the East Pacific. Of course, we've got Lee. That's likely to be a Category 5 hurricane. A lot of things that I'll cover here on marfoganweather.com, so don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel if you're interested in meteorology, global weather, global weather and climate report. We'll look at everything tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you again.